Well, hey, engineering students, this is a really quick video on how to apply tolerances to dimensions that you're creating in a multi-view drawing. So for starters, I have a drill block here with different holes, and so I am going to make sure I use my hole and thread callout button to apply the appropriate dimensions that have all of those details attached to them. So just clicking on each of the holes that have been created, dragging them off at an angle so that the leader lines are nice and angled. They're not right angles, they're not perfectly vertical or perfectly horizontal, but just bent at a diagonal angle. And then, of course, any other dimensions that need to get added, whether it's widths and heights, of course, make sure to apply all of those appropriately. But we just need the few in here that have specific tolerances included. So on this leftmost hole, right, if I want to apply a tolerance, I'm going to double click on this and it brings up my options, and you will have to click the override. So make sure to toggle that on, and that lets you go through and pick some different pieces. And so if you're needing to change the 0.250 here, I'd click on that. It shows up down here. I can select now symmetrical, deviation, or limits. So specifically what's going on is symmetrical is a similar word to bilateral, right? That it's going to be plus or minus a certain amount on each side. If you're just wanting a unilateral dimension where it can be bigger or it can be smaller, you'd click deviation, and then you'd have a place where you're going to put in your plus or your minus, whichever one is 0, whichever one is a specific number. Or lastly, the limit dimension, where, okay, it's supposed to be 0.25, but if it's supposed to be 0.252, for example, as the maximum, I could put that in as one option, plus, and if you're subtracting 0.001, for example, that's how you could create limit dimensions. So you do have to know what you're adding or what you're subtracting on each side to create the specific sizes that you're looking for. But in this case, I believe it was supposed to be bilateral or symmetrical, plus or minus 0.003. So if you click away from there, it's automatic. It just gets included as it is. Is over here, the 1.500 needs to have a bilateral on it, but we don't have like a toggle to override. It's just over here. This is the tolerance box that you can choose symmetrical or choose whichever one you need, and then it's plus or minus 0.005. And so that's how we can make sure that any dimension, whether it's a hole and thread note or it's a single dimension, can be applied with tolerances. So that is your lesson for today. Hopefully that helps with the rest of the problems.